Hey, there we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Juju Show, episode 30. And we've got some fun stuff for you, and we've got a little bit of a crew with us today. Corey, how you doing? How's the weather out where you're at? The
It's pretty nice.
sun shining like it is here.
Yep.
There's hopes for spring, except for poor Kevin. There's no sun because they stuck him in a closet to work.
It's wet. It's just been raining all day, all night.
I know. I'm heading down south, and they've had like 8 out of the last 10 days they've had rain. And I want to go out and hit some trails, and I'm like hoping they're not muddy slush, and they tell me that I can't ride them when I get down there. I'm gonna
bring a change of socks.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring my sealskins. Those sealskins, you know, the little waterproof sock things. It's good stuff.
That's just TMI. TMI.
Okay, all right. They're not real seals, man. Come on. All right. What do we got this week on the show? We have releases. Everyone get your Juju upgrade going because 2.3.3 is out. A new point release, more bugs fixed, a couple of nice tweaks in it. The snaps should all voila auto update. And if you paid attention to the show we did 2 weeks ago, where we talked about a handy Python tool to help you manage your upgrade of your controllers and models. See what I'm doing here? We're like tying together the last show with this show. It's very relevant when a release comes out and you've got to get your upgrade on. I'd recommend you go check it out and try it out, provide feedback and stuff. So everyone running their 2.3.3?
I didn't have to do anything. It just snap installed.
Just magic. I built the Mac release, so I had to do something because I had to build it, put it out there. But anyway, it's still good. Still good stuff. So go get that. Along with that, there were some releases here. Mr. Corey, you've got a couple of releases. Charms.reactive, the framework, I always call it the charming SDK. I feel like people understand the SDK really well. So
yeah,
what's new in the charming SDK?
Yeah, so in the last release that we had, we introduced the concept of endpoints, and in this release we refined how endpoints being a new pattern for dealing with interfaces, and kind of how you would write the interface layers to kind of encapsulate the protocol of, you know, what data goes across the relation, you know, how do you interact with the other side and provide a consistent API. And this release includes some refinements on the endpoint idea that kind of gives you a way of working with units that are departing the relation and more cleanly. And I think this is actually a much more clean pattern even than what we've had in the past, because it gives you a persistent list of what units have departed the relation. So that even if you can't deal with them right away, you're still waiting for, you know, another service to finish restarting or what have you. You can, when you are prepared to deal with them, you can, you know, just react to the flag that as appropriate and go through the list of the units that have since departed, and, you know, kind of update your configuration as needed, without having to, you know, strictly handle it during that one hook where the information is available. So I think it makes it a much nicer pattern for dealing with units that are going away, which is something that, you know, has been a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, that's always good. I know I've struggled sometimes to do proper cleanup when things depart. You know, the good old fashioned, oh, that one's bad, let me add another one, but let me get rid of the other one or whatever, and needing to go through the guarding steps for my applications where it might require, you know, running some scripts or stuff with that address out of way. Cool.
I definitely feel like, you know, units going away from a relation or removing relation entirely has long been a sense of a source of bugs in charms that I'm hopeful that this pattern will help reduce significantly.
Awesome. So everyone go garden up, take care of your remove. You know, I always love database migrations because people are very eager to implement database migrations, and they can migrate up databases. But without fail, I've very rarely see successful database downgrades, like cleaning up the repercussion of stuff. So I love how easy people can get stuff up and installed, but sometimes we got to put on the work to say, hey, when it's uninstalled, what are we going to do? How are we going to take care of that? So good practice, good hygiene. I like it. And python-libjuju, new release of that. And I see a few bullet points. What's the cool and exciting here?
Yeah, the biggest thing there is that we now have full macaroon support. So yes, so once you've got a controller registered, and you've authenticated the first time with the username and password, you'll get a macaroon, which is like an enhanced cookie. And previously, libjuju could kind of utilize the macaroons that were negotiated by the Juju CLI, but couldn't finish the negotiation process on its own because it requires some back and forth that it just didn't have the code for. It now has full support for that. So as long as you've got the initial connection, which I think you can do. I'm still a little bit unclear about about that initial connection process, if that just requires the password authentication and register to the controller, or if there's still something we need to add for there. I've got to do some additional testing. But once you have that controller registered, you can create new models and connect to those models without having to use the CLI to get yourself a macaroon for that model on the controller anymore.
And this is for all of Jazz, including the charm store, correct? Not just a controller.
Yeah. Right. Yes. For Jazz, it now handles all regions. One thing that was an issue previously is when you've got the Jazz controller registered, but depending on what region you deploy into, you need a different macaroon. But really, it's just an automatic process that happens. Since you're authenticated with the Jazz main controller. The individual regions, you just need to say, okay, it tells you, okay, you need to use this region. You say, well, I need my macaroon for that region. And it says, okay, you're authenticated at the main level, so I'm going to give you a macaroon for the region. And previously, that just wouldn't work in libjuju. You would have to use the CLI to kind of do that negotiation. Now, as long as you're authenticated with Jazz, you can go to whatever region you want to deploy to, and it just automatically works out of the box.
Awesome. I'm getting some feedback. I'm going to meet you, Corey. Sorry. Oh, thanks. So the killer use cases, I know we had some problems, is people wanted to set up their automated CI/CD pipelines of, I make a change to my charm, I deploy it into somewhere, to a model somewhere, it passes the test. Can I then go and upload that, push it up to the charm store? Could I actually then, release it or whatnot? And because they're all using this macaroon, this cookie-based identity back and forth, there was some trouble, initializing, getting those initial macaroons and stuff and keeping them up to date, because they do have to be renewed and everything. So sounds like that this is going to advance that, where after you get your CI/CD machine up and you register the controller on there, obviously I would add myself a bot user, a Jenkins into my controller, grant him access to whatever he needs, whether it be add model permissions or to a specific model or whatnot. And then on that Jenkins machine, once I register with that Jenkins user, I should be off to the races to script and automate the rest of my process using this libjuju tooling. So those of you folks that have tried that in the past and hit a little bit of, oh, Rick, why are you asking me to copy this Go cookies directory around to my other server? And I hung my head in shame and said, because it's what must be done. I can say, hey, it's all better now. Because Corey has made some amazing progress. And I know worked closely with some folks in the Jazz team like Roger and stuff to get that done. So thank you all. Big improvement. Everyone, go get your automated bots. Bots activate. And automated processes for the win. Next up in the news, I wanted to highlight this. This is one of an interesting, different kind of email that hit the Juju list this week, titled out "Juju-related employment opportunity with Lenovo Cloud Technology Center." And so the author, let's see, who's this actually from? I had the name here, Miroslav. I butcher names. That's what I do. I'm hopeful that's close enough. Posted basically saying they're looking for some help with Juju in the North Carolina area and doing some Juju and cloud development. So it's kind of exciting stuff. If you're in that area and you're interested, I would encourage folks to reach out and talk to them because why not? That'd be kind of fun. If you guys are playing with Juju on the side or whatnot, you can get paid to work full-time with Juju and related cloud technologies. It's a fun, exciting game in the cloud world. So anyways, I just wanted to highlight that hit the mailing list. I have a link in the show notes. But it's there. I encourage you to go reach out, say hi. And I wish you the best of luck finding some great qualified candidates, Miroslav. All right. That's the news this week. You guys have anything else for news before I get into my awesome screen sharing stuff?
I'm just here for your demo.
Here for my demo. So speaking of bringing things together, now my caveat for this was that it's supposed to be live, but it hit a snag going live like yesterday, and it's going live. It's in the process of liveness. But this works on Jazz and in your own controller. So I'm going to show it in your own controllers and cheat because today is Juju Show day, not tomorrow or the day after when it actually goes live. What I've got here, I'm cheating. So notice here I have a MAS controller up running some Kubernetes core bits and stuff, and it's your normal juju-gui, and it's exciting, right? Juju-gui, awesome. We've made some good changes. Here it is running in GCE, so basically just showing you different things. I didn't want to reload that. Oh, this is what happens when Rick gets too click happy. Stuff just happens. No, don't save that right now. What I wanted to highlight, and I just want to re-highlight, ooh, look at this, Juju Shell, command line in my GUI. This makes demos more awesome. If you want to see this in Jazz, email me so I can turn it on for you. The cool thing that we've done is we've gotten rid of the old profile and account pages under your user account here. We now have a brand new profile user experience. It's built to be more extensible. So you see I've got models, charms, bundles, cloud credentials. Soon here you'll see things like SSH key management. As controllers are kept up and running longer and longer, and they're becoming more and more multi-user, you need better utilities for managing what's going on. So in a Jazz case, you would see all of your models across all of your clouds. In this case, this is a single controller on Google. I see my Google one. If I go to my MAS one here, and I go to my profile, you can see I'm on my GUI MAS, which is my local MAS here. Very similar setup. What I've done is I've set up an admin user and then R Harding, which is myself. And so what's nice is you can see easily your models here, who owns them. I have read access to this ops monitoring model. I can click and expand for more details. So here I'm using my company credential for Google, my GCE cloud here. You can see that I can very easily manage multiple credentials. I can add additional ones. Now in Jazz, you have the choice of, hey, what cloud do you want to add more credentials for? But obviously in your own controller, you can add more credentials for that controller. And what I've done here is I've got a project-specific credential. We want to track costs for project X within my organization. If I go through and add a new model, so let's go back to my profile. Sorry, start a new model and go add something. This model has Nagios because it's right up there and easy to click. When I go to deploy it, I now have the option of picking what credential I use in my deployment flow, so I can make sure that this is for project X, or pick a brand new one or whatnot. So what we want to do is we want everyone to try this out, provide feedback and stuff on it. My charms list looks like my charms list. But in particular, I think when managing multiple credentials, when managing users, models across different users with different permissions and everything, and when we get to add additional functionality like the SSH keys and stuff in here, and this grows over time, we hope that this kind of profile page is a great, landing experience for you to use and track all your stuff. And it's just one more step of, yes, there's the CLI, but sometimes it's nice to get kind of a visual overview, something more interactive to go through and drive into what's running, who owns it, all that kind of stuff. And then we've got some little helpers, so I've got my IP address here. So if I wanted to, open it, send a new browser window or something, some documentation links and things here. So, your link home. I think we're going to tweak that link home to be specific based on if you're in Jazz or not, stuff like that. So it's kind of cool, fun stuff. When you tie this in with the ability to load the CLI in the GUI and the kind of get started stuff that we've worked on the GUI to help you land on installing something and following your next steps, we think that this is really getting to be much more useful for the GUI to be used as a regular tool rather than just something for when you're trying to show a demo or visually show the boss what in the world's going on. So like, if I want to go grab Prometheus here, add it to my model, and deploy it. Oh, is this a new model? Sure. Let me load my keys anyway. and deploy. And then I believe this one has, so here's my get started. And so it's got commands in here, my get started, that now I can copy this command out of here, run down here, you know, copy and paste my commands from my charm get started information into my terminal and track it all through my profile. You know, story is kind of coming together a little bit. So this is in the juju-gui 2.12.1 release. Like I said, this isn't published on the streams where default new controllers get it, or the default Juju upgrade GUI doesn't find it yet. We're working on publishing it. That's the next step. The release is cut, though. This is the final release. So what I cheated is I downloaded the tarball, and I ran Juju upgrade GUI with the tarball path that I downloaded. And then that will automatically upgrade the GUI on your controller, and everyone has access to it, right? So that's the bit I cheated. And then once the release is up, we'll be able to release it to Jazz as well. So it'll be the default experience in your jujucharms.com whenever any models and things are using up there. What do you guys think? Questions? Ooh, it's cool, but.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe there's a but. Like when you just have Prometheus there, like right there. If you none of this is committed yet, right? So what?
Right.
What?
Well, I did hit commit.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so fast, it's like lightning. You can't track my mouse movements.
Could you do anything with that model there prior to things being committed with the Juju shell? Like, does that?
No, because until you hit commit, especially for a new model, the model doesn't exist in Juju.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So when you first and I can show that here. If I go and start a new model, notice it's untitled. If I Juju models down here, only the 3 that I have, my engineering, my model I just created, and this exists. All this is in what we call uncommitted state. Anything I do here, let's go add some big data stuff in here. I don't know. Let's add this big honking thing. All right. And it's going to take forever. Again, this is all only in the JavaScript, only in the browser. Juju doesn't know anything's going on. So I can change stuff here. I can go, you know what? Forget syslog. I don't need that. And make changes and stuff. But nothing's real until I hit deploy changes.
Okay.
Cool.
That's awesome. I dig.
You dig? I like digging. As long as someone else is doing the digging. All right, cool. Well, then let's end this week's show in a nice 20-minute time frame. I like it. If you need anything, you guys know where to find us in Pound Juju on Freenode or the Juju mailing list, or comment on the videos here that we record from the Juju Show. Otherwise, have a great time and a great couple of weeks, and we'll see you with some new fancy stuff. I should probably stop presenting so that I can wave and you'll actually see my waving. So long, everybody. Have a good time.
See ya.